If you want to achieve your goals, you should never tell anyone, and it's not for the reason that you think. There's a lot of advice on ways to help you achieve goals, but if there's one thing that will prevent you from achieving your goals, it's telling people about them. Here's why. Many years ago, I had a friend who would always talk about all of the things he was going to do. He would talk about the businesses he was going to start, he would talk about the holidays or trips he was going to take, except over time, the more he spoke about the things he was going to do, the more I started to notice that he didn't ever do any of those things. He would talk about something for a period of time and then move on to the next thing. And he never actually got anything done. And as I started to study psychology and success, I started to understand what was actually going on. And to understand it, you first need to understand why people set goals to begin with. You see, more often than not, people set goals not because they actually want to achieve the goal. They set goals because of what they think other people will think about them if they achieve the goal. In other words, they're setting goals for status and recognition from other people, not because they truly want to achieve the goal. And so a good question you can ask yourself whenever you set a goal is, if I achieve this goal and no one could know, would I still want to achieve the goal? An example might be if you had a goal to buy a Lamborghini. Well, if you ask yourself, if I had a Lamborghini, but no one could know I had a Lamborghini, would I still want it? And if the answer is no, then it's very likely that you are not setting the goal because you actually want it. You are setting the goal because you want to gain some sort of status or recognition from someone else. And so if someone sets a goal because what they want is status and recognition, then when they tell you what their goal is, they gain some of that status and recognition. If I said to you, I'm going to be a billionaire and buy 20 Lamborghinis, whether or not you believe me, in that moment, in that interaction, the normal thing to do would be for you to be like, oh wow, that's great. And so I actually gain some status and recognition just by telling you. And if that's all I want, if that's the only reason I want to achieve the goal, then I've already gained the reward of achieving the goal without having to actually achieve it. And so my motivation to achieve the goal is going to drop. And so to achieve any goal requires motivation and discipline. And the bigger the goal, the greater that motivation needs to be. And so if you're telling people about your goal, and there's a part of you that set that goal to gain status and recognition, then every time you tell someone about it, you lose the motivation to gain the status and recognition because you're already receiving it. And so what should you do instead? Well, number one, you should make sure that the goals you have, you actually want, regardless of what anyone else thinks. And again, you can ask yourself, if I achieve this goal and no one could know, would I still want it? But even with that, there's always going to be some level of recognition and status that you desire from achieving something. Humans are social creatures, and so you can't avoid this completely. And so with that in mind, if you have a goal and you want to achieve it, you should hold off on talking about it or telling anyone about it until it's achieved. Because by doing that, you withhold all of the status and recognition until you actually achieve the goal. And by doing that, you'll be more motivated to actually work on the goal and achieve it, because that's the only way that you're able to get that status and recognition that you may desire. And so even if you are only wanting to achieve a goal because of what other people might think about you once you achieved it, you can harness that motivation and desire for status and recognition and refrain from telling anyone about your goal until it's achieved, because then and only then will you get what you want. You'll get the status and recognition by showing or telling other people what you achieved. And so that is why you should never tell people your goals. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more videos like this soon.